So I recently got a Nintendo Switch and I've been working through the backlog of games that have been released. And there was one game in particular that had a lasting impression on me from the announcement in 2017.
So it's taking pizza. Taking pizza.
Following a surprisingly homoerotic scene, you jump into your first battle. And I remember most people just touting this as like Nintendo XCOM, and that's exactly what it is. Took XCOM's combat and just, ran it over with the Nintendo brush, family friendly, all the good stuff. And it works. It's satisfying, there's depth, there's tactical options. Every turn you could really go multiple different ways, there's different risks you can take. Each of the characters feel unique. They, legitimately nailed it. The only criticism I have is the death animations feel really weak. Instead of a satisfying ragdoll effect, instead they just kind of stand back up and dissolve into thin air. The only decently satisfying way I could find to kill somebody was with a bounce effect, knocking them out of bounds. Way! Alley-oop! So the combat is good, alright, I like the combat, but it's time to talk about some things I don't like about the game, and that's pretty much every single other thing that isn't the combat.
Don't touch me, I'm sterile!
There's character skill trees, but they're really small and similar to each other and don't really offer any diverse options. There's this weird exploration that happens. The problem is, there's no map, and each of these chapters take 6 hours to beat, so they're actually quite large of an area, and it's extremely tedious to navigate around these areas without a map. So why not just ignore the exploration and go from battle to battle? Well, then you'd be missing out on all the chests that contain weapons and upgrades, and all very, very valuable collectibles, which account for maybe 80% of the upgrades, it felt like. Why are you giving me chests of loot that contain useless collectibles non-stop? It's so frustrating, stop it. Oh, new artwork, yes. Sick. By not doing the exploration, not only would you be missing out on these weapons, but you'd also be missing out on the bonus area after every chapter. And that bonus area doesn't scale as you progress in the game. On that note, there's also challenges that you unlock after each chapter, which suffer from exactly the same problem. If you don't do the challenges then and there, and you progress to the next chapter, maybe beat the next chapter, then come back, you're just going to roll straight over them. They're not going to be difficult because the challenges don't scale as you progress in the game. So if you want to do them at the intended difficulty, you need to stop progression in the story and do all of them before continuing.
You're good! You're good! You're good!
About 2 hours into my playthrough, I came to a realization and asked my chat, is every Rabbids playable character in this game just a duplication of one of the Mario playable characters? Because to me, that's not 8 playable characters like it should be. Because you've got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, and then supposedly 4 more Rabbids versions of each of those characters. Now, I grabbed out my calculator and did the math on that, and that's actually 5 characters. That's not 8. You've got Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yoshi, and then Rabbids. Rabbids is 1 character. It doesn't matter how you dress them up, it's 1 character. I know that Ubisoft and Nintendo wanted to make this little interaction for the trailer between Rabbids Peach and real Peach, where she sniffs her dress and whatever, does that dumb shit. But when you're playing the game, it's just confusing, repetitive, garbage, uncreative. I'll tell you what comes to mind when I think about this. So Ubisoft developed this game for Nintendo. I feel like there was a board meeting between Nintendo and Ubisoft, and Ubisoft said, this is French Ubisoft, so it's like, Nintendo, not only is every single enemy in the game going to be a rabbit, but we want 4 of your main characters duplicated as rabbits too. And then Nintendo reply, "Oh yes, Ubisoft-san. Just touch me in my bum the way I like."
You're good. You're good. You're good.
So we're not done with my complaining just yet. There was also an FPS issue that was very obvious as soon as I started up the game. How I can play Breath of the Wild and not complain at all about FPS issues, and then Ubisoft make this game, and instantly I notice a disparity in frames. How? How does that happen? Okay. We've got camera movement. Why does this game feel like it's in super low FPS? Is this 30 FPS? I think it is. It feels really weird. I don't know. To me, it feels bad.
Keep going. You're good. You're good. You're good. And stop. Don't worry, Captain. We'll buff out those scratches.
Alright boys, it's almost lunchtime and I want to finish making this shit sandwich, so I've got to say something nice now because I want to get eaten. So there's actually a good amount of content in the game. It's about 20 hours for the main story and then around another 20 hours for the bonus stuff. When you compare that to something like Super Mario Odyssey, it actually trounces it. And of course you're going to get even more playtime if you pick up the DLCs. So even with all my criticisms, the combat is solid. And if you're a fan of this style of game, I think this is probably a must-play if you own a Switch. I'm giving it 3 laggy balls out of 5.